This video is to go through lesson 13.4, paying, withholding, and payroll taxes. We have one objective. You need to be able to pay and record withholding and payroll taxes. Paying the liability for employee income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax. So employers must pay to the federal, state, and local governments all payroll taxes that they withheld from employee earnings, as well as the employer side of the payroll taxes. The payment of payroll taxes to the government is referred to as a deposit. The 12-month period that ends on June 30th of the prior year that is used to determine how frequently a business must deposit payroll taxes is called your look-back period. So this is going through like how you figure out how often a business is going to pay their taxes. So it's really just questions, yes or no questions that you go through. So first question is, are the total taxes for the prior quarter less than $2,500 and all current quarter tax liabilities within a deposit period less than $100? If unsure, answer no. So if we were to answer yes to that, deposit taxes by the end of the month after the end of the quarter, or mail taxes with Form 941. If we were to say no to that question, the next question we would go to is, have we accumulated a tax liability of $100,000 or more within a deposit period? If we say yes, we would need to deposit our taxes by the next banking day. If we were to say no, the next question we go to is, did you fall under the $100,000 rule at any time during this year or last year? If we were to say yes, we would be a semi-weekly scheduled depositor. So that means that we would need to deposit taxes from paydays paid on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday by the following Wednesday. If paydays are on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we would pay on the following Friday. If we were to say no to that question, our next question is, are the total taxes for the look-back period more than $50,000? If that's a yes, we would be a semi-weekly scheduled depositor, just like the before one. If we were to say no, then we're going to be a monthly scheduled depositor. That means that we would deposit taxes for the month by the 15th of the following month. Now, I would say, from thinking back, our problems that we're going to do, I can't think of one that we are not a monthly scheduled depositor. I believe all of the examples that we use, we will be a monthly scheduled depositor. That means that we will be paying taxes, which is called depositing taxes, on the 15th of the following month. If we are a new business, we wouldn't have a look-back period. So therefore, we would be a monthly scheduled depositor for the first calendar year of our business. After that look-back period is established, then we would evaluate whether if we would change our deposit period. Federal tax deposits must be paid using electronic fund transfer. Deposits can also be made using the electronic federal tax payment system, which they call EFTPS. The other thing is that tax rules change, and it is the business's responsibility to stay up to date with those tax rules. Here is going to be our transaction. So it says on January 15th, we are paying cash for liability for employee income tax, $998, Social Security tax, $2,023.06, Medicare tax, $473.14, for a total of $3,494.20. We are using check number 748. So this is where we are actually paying the government for those taxes that we withheld. Here they're showing us all of our T accounts and what that looks like. So when we look at our employee income tax, this is what we withheld. Here's our balance. Now we're paying that. So we're going to be debiting that account to pay that off. Same thing with Social Security. Here's our balance. Here's what we're going to debit that account to pay that off. Here's our Medicare balance. We are going to debit that to pay that off. Since we are debiting those 3 accounts, we're going to credit cash for the total amount. Another thing that we're going to see, notice how Social Security has 2 for December 15th, 2 for December 31st. Same thing with Medicare. Medicare has 2 for December 15th and 2 for December 31st. That's because this is going to be the employee's Social Security that we withheld, and this is the employer's Social Security we withheld. Same thing here. Here's the employees, here's the employer. Employee, employer, employee, employer. When we look at our employee income tax payable, that we just withheld from the employee. So that's why we only have 1 for the 15th and 1 for the 31st. Here's going to be what it looks like in our journal then. Since we're making a cash payment, this is going to go into our cash payments journal. We're going to start with our date. We are going to debit those payable accounts. So employee income tax payable, Social Security tax payable, Medicare tax payable. There's our check number. And then we're going to credit cash for the total amount. It's really important that we double check that our 3 debits equal our 1 credit before we move on. Okay, then we also have to pay the liability for a federal unemployment tax. So remember, we call that FUTA. FUTA taxes are paid by the end of the month following each quarter if the liability amount is more than $500. However, all unemployment tax liabilities outstanding at the end of the calendar year must be paid. FUTA tax is paid to the federal government using electronic funds transfer or that EFTPS. The deposit for FUTA tax is similar to the deposit required for income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax. It's just we are going to deposit these separately. So now we're looking at July 31st, and I'm going to go back to this because remember it says paid at the end of the month following each quarter. So January 31st is going to be our payment of our 4th quarter. So it says paid cash for federal unemployment tax liability for quarter ended December 31st, $297.02, check number 749. We are going to debit then our federal unemployment tax payable, and we're going to credit cash. You'll see here that we have 3 amounts in there. So all we're doing is putting in our date, our debit to our unemployment tax payable federal, our check number, and then our credit to cash. We also need to pay our SUTA. Our SUTA is going to be just like our FUTA. So again, on January 31st, we paid cash for state unemployment SUTA tax liability for quarter ended December 31st, $147.42, check number 750. So here we are going to put in our date. We're going to debit our unemployment tax payable state, our check number 750, and then our cash credit. Number 1, for a monthly scheduled depositor, when are payroll taxes paid to the federal government? By the 15th day of the following month. By the way, you will need to know that. You will need to know when you are going to be paying those taxes. Number 2, by what method are businesses encouraged to deposit federal payroll taxes? That would be by using that electronic federal tax payment system, that EFTPS. Okay, that was the end of 13.4. You can now go to the 13.4 work together.